How's it going, guys? It's K Cars, and in this video I'm going to be talking about 5 things I love about my 2001 Jeep Cherokee XJ. So if you guys haven't seen my previous videos that I filmed with this Jeep, you definitely want to go check those out. First, I'm going to tell you guys some details about it. So it is a 2001. I got it with 103,000 miles, and it's pretty much the cleanest Jeep that I found. I did find a bunch for a lot cheaper with a lot more rust. This one does have a good amount of rust on the undercarriage, but pretty much the paint is really clean. There is some rust on the rocker on the driver's side, but yeah, there's no issues that I've noticed so far. The check engine light is on, but the previous owner said that it wasn't throwing any codes, so I'm hoping nothing's wrong with it. But yeah, let's go ahead and get started. The number one thing I love about this Jeep is, I don't know how to say it, but kind of like the overall like off-roading customization thing with this Jeep. So there's a whole bunch of aftermarket parts for these Jeeps. They're supposed to be really good off-road. I haven't had the chance to take this thing off-road yet, but when I do, you guys are definitely going to be seeing a video about that, and I'm really excited to take it off-road. But yeah, right now it's completely stock. I do have a lot of plans for this Jeep, and that's definitely my number one thing that I love about this Jeep, is how customizable it is. Like I said, you can just go up to quadratech.com and see a bunch of aftermarket parts for these Jeeps, and that's the whole fun part of these Jeeps. Like, I bought it all stock just so I could learn how to install like a bumper, wheels and tires, lift, and let's see what else, headlights, light bars, all that fun stuff. Now, like I said, I do have a lot of plans for this Jeep, so if you want to see my whole build, you definitely want to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already to see those videos. So number one thing is how customizable it is to make it like off-road worthy. Now, these things that I love about the Jeep, really in a particular order, kind of just saying them in the order that I think of them. So let's see, number 2 is probably going to be the size of the Jeep. So if you look at a Humvee, for example, that thing's huge and it's amazing off-road, but if you take it to a small compact trail, it's going to be too big to actually like go through the trail. Just too wide. Maybe if you have like 2 trees close together on the trail, it might actually be too wide, and it might end up not even making it through the trail just because of how big it is. Well, for this Jeep, it's actually pretty small, a lot smaller than I was expecting. I don't know the exact dimensions, but there you can see how skinny it is. Now, that isn't always a good thing. On the inside, it is pretty small as well. There's not really that much leg room, and the size of the Jeep was also one of the things I hate about it, but that's only because of the leg room on the rear seats. So let me actually show you guys that right now. So going into the back seat here, one thing is this door jamb sticks out a lot, so you kind of have to scrape it every time you crawl into the back seat here. But as you can see, there's really no leg space back here. And of course, this seat right up here is back all the way, but if I push this seat up, the person in the front will have not enough leg space. So it's kind of a trade-off that you have with these 2 seats, the front and back. But yeah, and crawling out, you kind of have to scrape on that door jamb again because it is pretty small. So like I said, the size of this Jeep kind of gives it an advantage on the trail. Depending on what kind of trail you're going on. If it's a skinny trail, you're definitely going to be at an advantage with this Jeep. Now, it probably doesn't weigh that much compared to like a truck or something else, a Hummer maybe. So that also doesn't really help it much with traction on the trail, because if you're heavier, you have more traction. So I probably should have put this thing first, but the number 3 thing I love about the Jeep Cherokee XJ is the visibility. So whenever I test drove this thing, I was completely surprised about how good the visibility is out of this thing. So it's better than any car I've ever driven. Literally just because there's 0 blind spots at all. And the previous owner actually put blind spot mirrors on here too. So yeah, out of the front, it's pretty good too. It's not a huge car, like I said, so you can see pretty well out of the front. And then the rear view mirror is pretty good as well. And here's where it's the best. Literally 0 blind spots at all. Normally when you look back out of the car like this, you have a huge blind spot somewhere back there. but here the whole thing, basically the whole thing is a window. So there's absolutely zero blind spots. And you even have blind spot mirrors on this exact one to help you even more. So that probably should have been the number one thing I love about this car. I kind of forgot about that until I sat back inside. But yeah, this thing's super easy to drive. Even if you miss something in your side mirrors, you can look back really quick, see if there's anything there. And yeah, it's really easy to drive. Even though I did mention in my 5 things I hate video that the front end does kind of float around. That kind of makes it a little bit hard to drive, but it's really not a big deal at all. And like I said, it's really easy to drive. And compared to something like a Jeep Wrangler, this thing is a bunch better than a Wrangler. Now with the Wrangler, you kind of have a bit of a blind spot between the like second window and the rear window. There is a little bit more space between those 2 windows, so that kind of gives you a blind spot, as well as the little like part of the roof that goes diagonal, kind of right there, like in front of the rear window. That kind of makes your visibility a little bit worse too, and this Jeep doesn't have any of that. That's why it has the best visibility out of any vehicle that I've ever driven, and that's the number 3 thing I love about it. So let's go ahead and move on to the number 4 thing I love about this Jeep, which is how easy this thing is to use. Like, it's so simple on the inside and everything's so obvious about what it does. You look at these new cars like the new Corvette, they have so many buttons, so many things on the screen, so many little things on the steering wheel. And whenever I drove that Z06, I really had no clue what any of that stuff meant. It was kind of hard to figure out, even compared to the Challenger. Like, the Challenger isn't too bad to figure out what everything means, but this 2001 Jeep is so simple to use, and it's just amazing. Like, everything's laid out perfectly, everything's labeled really well. The only thing that kind of confused me was the headlight. You actually just have to pull this thing out. I'm not used to seeing anything like that, but yeah, so that was a little bit different. And then of course you got your side mirror controls, window lock, door lock, window controls. And of course you got your high beams right here, as well as the turn signals. And then right here are your 4-way hazard lights. You actually just push that to the left like that. And then right here are your windshield wipers. So off is all the way down. Then you have 3 different settings. Then if you twist this, that adjusts your speed. Then you pull it, it'll put out your windshield washer fluid, which is, it's all labeled really easily. And then here's your radio. I never listen to music while driving, so I haven't even bothered to try to figure this stuff out. But once again, it's all laid out really simple. Got your volume right here, balance if you want it left or right, tune, fade if you want it front or back, and then bass, treble right here, seek. This is all your radio stuff. Like I said, I don't listen to music in any kind of vehicles if I'm driving, so I haven't tried to mess with this at all. But then your climate controls are really easy to use. Of course, your fan speed, and then this is where you select where you want the air to go, and then your temperature right here. One thing I don't understand is that if you're not using AC, you can't have it go to your face and legs. You have to be using AC. As you can see, there's no picture for face and legs unless you're using AC right there. And then to turn it off, obviously, you just put it all the way down there. Then you got your cigarette lighter, your 12-volt outlet right there. Then here, I like how you have these 3 little switches right here. So you got your rear defroster, rear windshield wiper, and fog lights, which I think the fog lights don't actually work on this Jeep. I haven't checked those out yet, but I haven't driven at night, so whenever I do drive at night, I will definitely have to check if they work or not. And then of course, this thing's self-explanatory, just an automatic transmission, 2-wheel drive, 4 high, 4 low. This thing does have the NP231 transfer case, so you don't have part-time or full-time. It's just 4 high. And then, yeah, that's all there is to this Jeep. Like I said, it's really simple. There's nothing in the back except for a small ashtray. And yeah, this thing's amazing. So easy to drive, so easy to use. really easy to get used to as well. And yeah, nothing complicated about it. Guys, there's 5 things I love about the 2001 Jeep Cherokee XJ. Like I said, I do have a lot of plans for this Jeep. I do want to go off-roading. Obviously, that's the whole point of buying this Jeep. And I do want to put a bunch of like modifications on it, including lift, wheels and tires, front and rear bumpers, LED lights, all that stuff. So I'm definitely going to be making videos showing you guys the installations. And whenever I do take this Jeep off-roading for the first time, it's probably going to end up being still stock. So you guys are going to see the video of that as well. And I'm extremely excited. So if you guys aren't subscribed, then you definitely want to, because I'm going to be posting a lot of videos with this Jeep in the future. So if you guys have anything else to add to this video, things that you love about the XJ, definitely leave those down in the comments. And if you have any suggestions for videos you would like to see in the future, also comment those down below. And if you like this video or found it entertaining, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And as always, thanks for watching.